After crossing over from Canada, ex-Alps Jesse took me into the Cascades for what ended up being my best flight in the USA through the Pickets, probably the most wild terrain in the continental US.
Yesterday I had a beautiful flight, but it was very stable and we couldn't get above the hill really, but we had great views of Mount Baker and it was great to hang out with the local pilots while Jesse did a tandem. Launch was just in a gap between the wilderness areas of Shuksan and Mount Baker, and it was coming up really nicely and got up straight away but didn't get above a couple of 100 feet above the hill. Flying with Jesse was great, got a few shots of Mount Baker and Shuksan in the background. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but we weren't really going anywhere, and finally he told me in the air that he wanted to go and land, so I decided that I better quickly see if the ridge towards Shuksan was working, and it seemed a bit of a shame to land at 2 p.m. and I went over and it was working and it was fantastic. I just gradually worked my way up. As I got higher and close to the glaciers, I began to see like a couple of orange climbers tents, and later I saw the climbers crossing the glacier on Shuksan, which was awesome. Just a fantastic mountain, very smoky day, but the visibility was quite close when you're that close to this big peak. And then I pushed out to the south side of the peak because there was, pretty decent south wind, maybe up to 20 k's, and gradually got a climb and eventually took it up over 9,000 feet. And yeah, fantastic views of the glacier below. So at this point, like before, I'd probably thought of more flying south towards the road, but here I thought maybe I can keep flying due east. And I had a look at the map and there was only one pass to get over really, and then you could sort of follow the valley towards the road, and there was heaps of, there was pretty decent landings on the gravel flats on the river along the way. So I said, as long as I feel good about it and I think I'm going to make it and there's landings, I'll have a crack. So I did, and yeah, I'm glad I did. Really great. So mostly the climbs are pretty light. There was a few strong bits of lift coming through, and mostly you couldn't get much above the hill and you just kept having to follow the ridges. But finally on one of these peaks down the back a little bit, I did get up to 9,000 feet again, so well over 1,000 feet above the peak. And yeah, more looking at the map and trying to figure out exactly where I was and where I was going. And yeah, great views. It looked like I could have gone on those big peaks behind towards Canada on the northern side, but the way I went also worked really well and I was quite happy where I was. So yeah, I followed kind of like the big mountains rather than go that line towards that lake, and I'm glad that I did because that lake had bugger all landings by the looks of it, which I remember Jesse actually saying when he was having a look at a few things on Google Earth and talking about it last night. So we unfortunately Jesse wasn't with me, but I also was wondering how the psychology would have changed, because it was enough to, I was biting off all I could chew kind of on my own, just keeping alert for landings, and if we'd been with each other, maybe the psychology of one person pushing the other or worrying about the other guys would have made a difference. I don't know how that would have worked out.